PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America. Chris Sims is with us here on God Bless Football. What's the game you're most excited for this weekend?
Ooh, I I think it's the Packers Eagles game has,
Yes.
I think, the biggest potential to be special. Just because I think the Packers are one of the few teams in football that will never be physically outclassed by a team like the Eagles, the Lions, the Chiefs, the Ravens. They can hang right in there with them, right? The big question is Jordan Love, his health, the fact that he hasn't played that well, the fact that they're going into the playoffs after losing to Chicago and they were trying to win that game last week. And the Eagles are going to be a fresh football team. You know, other than Jalen Hurts, like he hasn't played and he's just about to get out of concussion protocol. That's your only concern there. But that game has a chance. I'm taking the Eagles, right? But I still think there's a lot of heavy hitters on the field. Bothers me in Green Bay. They have no Christian Watson, right? Romeo Doubs has been going through some stuff. Jordan Love, of course, not at his best. That worries me a little bit as far as Green Bay is concerned.
If the Eagles happen to lose this game, is there a chance Nick Sirianni gets fired afterwards?
I think that it could be a real possibility. Like my workmate Mike Florio, who you just talked about in PFT, I think he thinks there's a chance. Right, a team that talented, if they go out one and done,
right,
there could be trouble. He also thinks there's a chance the Baltimore Ravens, like if they go one and done with this team,
wow,
Harbaugh could be in trouble. If it looks bad against and let's say vice versa, the Baltimore dominates Pittsburgh. He has a thought, and usually Mike, when he has a thought, he's getting inklings from somewhere that he thinks that Tomlin could be in trouble too. So, you know, we got some playoff teams here certainly that could have some drama if things don't go the right way this weekend.
You know, the Harbaugh one is interesting because he kind of skates by. He's won 2 playoff games in the last decade, and he's had the 2-time MVP on his roster.
That's what I think where it might come to a head if they disappoint here, right? I don't expect them to. I'm taking them to beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going like this and the Ravens are going like this right now. I expect them to control the game. I picked Ravens 35-20. So if it goes as expected, he'll be okay. But, yeah, I think that what you're saying, the Ravens fans know that. And that's why, you know, every few years you kind of hear like a rumbling of, I don't know, is John Harbaugh still going to be the head coach of the Ravens? And I think it's kind of the things you're alluding to that, you know, rub some people the wrong way in that fan base.
Chris, what's wrong with the Steelers? They're on this giant skid, and there's no big injury or something where you could point to and go, oh, well, they lost that guy, and that's why they're not doing it.
Yeah, I think that people figured out how Russell Wilson led Pittsburgh Steelers want to play football a little bit. The one thing you see with Russell Wilson and watching back even the Ravens game, the last one they played, which was 34-17 Ravens, and it was closer than that. That was a misleading score. But, you know, Wilson's made some mistakes lately. Wilson's definitely turned down some completions. Middle of the field is still an issue with Russell Wilson. It's an issue. And if there's an advantage to have in this matchup, Freiermuth down the middle against Roquan Smith. There was people open down the middle in the last matchup against the Ravens. He's reluctant to throw the ball into those windows. I don't know if it's because he's shorter and he can't see or if he's just very protective of the ball, but he's going to have to be a little more aggressive in this one. I think, too, the other thing you start to realize is that, you know, when they don't have George Pickens and he's not focused and or he's dropping the ball or talking too much, you can see that they're just not the same offense. There's nobody that scares you. So I think it's a little bit of all of that. And then the defense is good, but it's not great. I think that's probably the big thing I look there. I'm expecting Baltimore to kind of control this game, Mikey A. Like jump off to a big lead and then kind of take the foot off the gas pedal. And, you know, Pittsburgh kind of comes back to make it look respectable. But I don't think they're in the same class as the Baltimore Ravens right now.